Okay, this is Donna Du Bois, and I am interviewing, doing a post-conference with Miss Tammy DeCapua, who I did an observation in her classroom earlier this week for shared reading. So I really did enjoy how you had a split screen with the focus question and the timer. So you use that for yourself, for your students.
I use it for both myself and my students. For the students, so they know how much time they have, and overall for the lesson, so we know how much time we were making sure we're consistent with devoting to the partner reading.
Okay.
And not going over or taking up extra time when we need to move on to the other parts.
And I noticed you were reading there. So was that to get you back on schedule so you had time for the partner reading? Or?
For this book, the chapters are longer, and getting it through, it was taking us too long doing the choral reading the whole time. So I tried to keep it to the 7 minutes also for choral reading, and then taking over to read for them to speed it up.
Right. And so when you had your kids partnered, did you have to work on that for a while? Like, did it take you a little while to get that good mix, good chemistry?
The partners are based on their reading level. So the chemistry works out. I found it lasts a few weeks, and then just switching it up for natural, likes and dislikes,
right?
Like sibling relationships. But ability-wise, I do find that it does work well because both students are helping each other, so it makes their lower achieving student feel successful, and the students who are at a higher level don't even realize that they're the ones at that higher level. I think they just think they're a good match.
Right. So then when you're grouping them, are you grouping like a tier 3 with like a tier 2? Is that what you're...
I base it on the fluency from their DIPLs, and put them all in order, cut the list in half, and then partner up the lowest with the second highest up. So not low-high, but
right.
I don't know, there's probably a
so
term
like
for that.
your greens with your reds, or your yellows with your reds, or...
Yes.
Yeah.
So not completely opposite.
Right, because I was dibbling today, and I was going through the reds and the yellows, so... I did notice you had a couple of students that were reading by themselves with their own copy of the text. And you explained to me you had one kiddo that what was going on with him?
I have a few, if their partner's absent, they have the option of jumping in with another group if someone else is absent, but if there isn't a separate group, just we don't want to change the dynamics too much. But some friends, I found that they're not reading at all with their partner, or not engaged in the text, but they will read on their own, but they don't like to read out loud.
I gotcha. But you know that will they choral read? Like, can you tell if they're choral
They'll
reading?
They'll follow along, but they're not.
But they're not
going to.
But you know that they're reading fluently because you dibbled them.
Yeah, they're very high on the fluency.
Right.
So it's not that. I think it's a comfort level. And I was curious to talk to, bring that up with bookworms or people that come in and talk to us. Have they found that in other places where students who just are not comfortable reading fluently, they can, but they don't want to do it out loud? To me, it's not worth upsetting them and frustrating them to read.
We don't want to make them dislike reading. That's the last thing we want.
To do it either. If I was sitting in a group of people and I have to read out loud, and I'm not somebody who likes to read out loud, but I can read.
Right.
So it's just more like a comfort level. I found that I have more success, and they're still doing the work. But if I push them to say you have to do this, then they stop reading.
They
get angry.
Now, what if you, because I noticed you had your student teacher was kind of circulating around the room and making sure everybody was on task and so forth while you were reading. Would that work if you pulled them out to a smaller group with just her, or they just plain don't like to read out loud?
That is definitely something we could try. She's newer to us and newer to them. They're starting to see her right now. This is week 3, but really it's only been 5 days.
Right.
They're starting to see her more as
I know it does seem like she's been here a while longer than that.
when you're
transitioning,
the actual time, and
that's right.
They've had meetings and trainings, and So
you're saying both groups of kids haven't seen her.
Right. And I have had her working with some students in small roles, but I also have seen where I thought, do a small group, and like it happened today, where they were just not listening to her at all. So
gotcha.
Not quite ready to put her in that spot, or
right. And I will say, Tammy, because we were out there, because I pull a small group out there that they just can't keep up with the pace with everybody else in the room. And Peggy was reading, because I went out later, and she was reading very loud, and I kept looking back at your group, and I thought, that's got to be so distracting for them, because they're trying to listen to her, and all they can hear is Peggy, and she's got that really deep voice. So, and I was,
have my room ready now. I got that ready yesterday for.
oh, that was gonna be one of my other questions is how are you utilizing your pull-out room?
Now we are. Before I wasn't with just one person. It wasn't.
Not feasible.
It was not healthy.
No, and you can't see everybody.
That's why.
So,
And
yeah.
I found even doors open it wasn't enough.
No.
So.
Kim had the same problem when
two
we were in here
people.
last year. We
Yeah.
had to finally say, like, even for, like, indoor recess, they can't be back there because you just
No.
can't watch everybody. Gotcha.
Today was the first time it opened up for recess, indoor recess with two people, and my student teacher stayed back there.
Yeah.
And I stayed out here.
It gives them a little more feng shui. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Need to be supervised.
because that was really only my couple of observations was, because you had a gal over here that was reading by herself, and you had a gentleman here, and I thought, well, and then you had a group of three back here, and I thought, was there any way any of those could be partnered? But then I thought maybe it's a chemistry thing or just a personality
depended on
thing.
who it was. And sometimes they bump out for band and they're back intently.
Right.
You know how that is.
Yes.
So you
and
don't
they've
want to.
missed the
I don't
gist
want to
of
put them
it.
here and then oh your partner's back. Now go
Right.
there, or oh your partner's back, and then they feel conflicted because I should be reading with my partner.
Right.
So we try
Yeah.
to.
It is
say,
hard.
"All right."
It is very hard. And that was going to be my other thing was how you were utilizing your pull-out room, because I liked you had your AR library set up really, really nicely and organized and everything numbered and so forth. So do you find, like, for DI that are you able to utilize your AR library very much for that, or?
They jumped. I introduced Epic this year, and that the first marking period, and it was after everyone had their AR books ready. The first marking period, I should say, but toward the second, it started spreading like wildfire, and now most of the kids are choosing to read during their free time on Epic,
Epic.
electronic books. So they're still reading a ton of books, and many of them have chosen that as their lead to increase in levels on Epic
Right.
rather than AR.
Okay.
So I guess we'll try it out.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
welcome.
I appreciate it, and thanks for letting me come in and
Anytime.
look at your room. I did